Hi, everybody. Welcome to Soul's Code and happy post Thanksgiving. So, I'm Anjanette, and this is my fabulous co host, Lorilet Monegro. And we were just talking about business. We said, why don't we just talk about this on the air? So, we were talking about building your business out. So, a lot of people, like, make it sound so easy. You just go online and you start a business and but there's so much more to that. So you can really start from anywhere. And I talk about this on another show that you can really start, as long as you have a basic drive and knowledge in what you're trying to help someone with, you're ahead of them in the game, like at least a few steps that you're trying to teach, and that you're willing to invest in your knowledge base, continue to invest in your knowledge so you really can be positioned as the best person to help them and invest in your time and invest financially. So, but people think it just ends there, that it's a once and done.
Mhm.
So I'm 4 years into my business and I am still building things out. Like the vision that I had was so much bigger than when I started. I figured go big or go home. So I said I'm gonna do this, and this. But building to that process is quite an adventure. It's it's difficult at times, but if you want something, you got to keep going. So I was talking about how a lot of times you can't afford to do everything that you want to do in this minute in your business. So you move from where you are. I went from coming online, not even knowing how to work a computer, to where I am now. So um every the money I make, I reinvest back into my business. It doesn't go anywhere. So if we were going by profits, I'd be at zero now because I just keep repossessing reinvesting in myself. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, thank you so much, Andrea, for just bringing out this conversation because, I think that also people have this dream, right? That they go online and it's going to happen overnight. And even transferring skills, knowing your clarity of your message, knowing who your people are going to be, everything is such a process. To be able to do it in a way that is, I'm going to say, sincere, ethical, as opposed to just saying stuff because you have these boilerplate type of call to actions and this is what I do, and everybody's saying the same thing where you don't distinguish anything because people haven't put the thought into what they're creating, but also the money. There are things that run in software and systems that require investment. And all of that in the beginning, there's no money coming in. It's all output, all output. And I think, people don't want to have these sincere conversations because probably people would be scared. They're like, what? I'm not going to make, yeah, you're not going to make all that money. And you're like, yeah, I invested all this money. And I think that you're keeping it real. I don't know if people like reality or if they like nice stories, that sound good, but they're fictional. I think that a lot of people are buying a lot of lies because they sound good and it's, just tell me what I want to hear as opposed to tell me the truth and then how we're going to do it. So hopefully people start catching up and realizing that we're showing up like we are. Like, look, I'm not even dressed up fancy. I'm neither are you. We're just having open and clear conversations with our viewers, and sharing the journey of like, hey, every day is not amazing. Some days things suck, and some days you're just frustrated, And I think that when people have appreciation for that, not just what they want to hear, then maybe they can quiet the noise of all of those people selling all kinds of weird things out there. Um, Too much selling, very little serving. People are not understanding that it's just selling you stuff to sell you stuff without taking action. So thank you for
I,
bringing it out.
well, I agree. I feel that more people would have sustainability in business if more people were being honest with them.
Yeah.
So if someone said to me, you want to start a business, Andra, this is going to be tough. So if you're not built for the long haul, don't even start. I still would have been all in. I would have said, I deserve this. I don't always want to work a 9 to 5. I like doing something independent, but I do business because it allows me to be more creative,
Hmm.
which is great for cognitive function, and
Absolutely.
brain health, right? So it takes you out of yourself. It helps relax you. So it's definitely a mood booster in a lot of ways. So this is all stuff that I love. That's just, an asset for me that of doing business. But I don't think a lot of people make it in business because people are telling them it's easy and it's not
Hmm.
easy. Like I have easy days, certainly,
Right.
but the challenge um of presenting what you're trying to tell people in a very clear way where they know, okay, I'm over here, I'm the one that you need to be with, is very, or I'm selling this product that you absolutely need, when there's so many people out in the market, really, like you said, saying the same thing. So my
Yeah.
message has never been the same as anybody else. A lot of people play to pain points. I'm just
Mm.
not that person. I
Neither
don't
am
think
I.
I just I know that people will know that I'm the best one to help based on the things that I'm talking about, because I'm talking about things nobody talks about because they don't know that information, because
Hmm.
I'm in health, but most of the people out here selling health are not in health. They've never spent a day in the hospital or a
Hmm.
day in a class on health or
That's
have
right.
any knowledge of it, or how the body works, and they're selling health. And they're actually the people I stands against. Those quick fixes and those, oh,
Hmm.
take this pill and because a lot of people buy into that, and well, shame on you. You shouldn't. You should be smarter than a second grader, because anything that sounds too good. My mother said, if it sounds too good, it's not true.
Yeah.
So my mother always told me to put those warning signs up. If it sounds like you're going to own this bridge and all you got to do is walk 2 steps towards it, chances are the bridge will fall before you get there. So stop walking, stand your ground, and figure out what's really going on, right? So and I think that, I also think, because there's so many people, true story, I rarely see my friends on Facebook or a lot of my social networks and what they are doing. So even though it's supposed to be a social platform, there is less social than platform. The platform has all become marketing ads. And so it's more
Yep.
like, a Google ad place than it is an actual social platform at this point. It's become all about selling. And
Hmm.
I did a post the other day. Hey, I'm not seeing any of my friends, just a lot of ads. Can you tell me what you're up to? Could you tell me what you're up to? And I have people that are always on my page every day. Hey, Anja, how are you? But you don't see the volume of people that you used to. And um it's not just an algorithm problem, it's a central problem. This is
Hmm.
happening everywhere. And I'm not going to keep messing around trying to figure out the algorithms. I don't care. I really don't. If my message is meant to be heard, it will be heard, and as will yours. But I think that people are so, if we're seeing it this much and we're part of that market,
Yeah.
then you have to wonder how the people that are in the market must feel, because I can't go into my chat. Someone came back to me, hey, did you make a decision on that? And I was like, who are you? What are you talking about? So then I went back and I looked at the chat, and he sent me something like 6 months ago that he wanted to promote my Udemy course. He said, are you, I said, we didn't have this conversation. You told me what you do. You don't know who I am. Buzz off,
Yeah.
Um, just like buzz off. Leave me alone. That's 2 minutes that I'll never get back, right? So then I could have spent working on something that was important to me. So I really have to honor myself and my own integrity, and really just not allow myself to visualize or see those things. So So now when I don't look at the messenger, it's just like a white space, right? For me, that I don't even go to that side of Facebook because it's just become, sorry, a shit show. Um, and I'm not okay with it. But
Yep.
I want people to know that this is the message I really want. Can you hear my dog lapping up on water? My dog, my
No,
dog.
you can't hear it.
Every time I go live, there's some would like do a show. There's something I was on a show last night, and my husband decided, well, was naked, mind you, and decided he needed a cookie for the dog in, in the drawer behind me, and just walked. And I said, "Where do I know that from?" Ah, these things happen. This is what happens when you're in the public eye, right? But I just laughed it off and cut it out later. But what I want the people to really know is that you can still start a business, but go into it with the realization that there's going to be good days and bad days. That a lot of the stories that you hear out there are really people that came into the business that had a lot of money to invest to begin with. They hired a marketer, which is no small feat. They're
No,
expensive. They
they're
hired a
expensive.
marketer, they hired a digital creator,
That's right.
so they had somebody else with those tools all take care of their business. So if you're not
Mhm.
in that place, you do have to learn those tools. You do have to learn
Right.
how to who your target market is. You do have to do that research to see
Yep.
where they are, geographically, what everything is that you're trying, who they are, what age and all that stuff. You do have to go through all that stuff. And that takes a process because you have to really sit down and say, who is what I do for,
Right.
So I've been in healthcare all these years, but I'm not for everybody. I don't, there's certain people I would never work with, right? So um I do have to tailor that to who I specifically help at this time in my life because I'm not working as a nurse out here or just a nutritionist, right? I do have niche, right? A niche, a few anyway. Um,
No,
so
but it's true.
so you do have to spend some time, but you do have to want this really bad. You do have to have dedication. So if the pain's not bad enough, you're not going to change. So if you're in a really great job and you're making really good money and you're okay with working for someone else, then you don't need to start a business, right? Because
Mhm.
that job is filling all of the things that you feel that you need. But most people like to be able to have that time and that money freedom and to really set their own hours and do things. And I'm certainly not in that place. Um, and I'm still working a job and running a business. And like I said, I keep reinvesting. Now, when I finish building out what I'm working on, which honestly will probably take me another 2 years for that end vision that I have, right? And then scaling it from there. Um, so and I've been in business 4 years. So we're talking about 6 years to get my business to where I'm okay with it, where I'm proud to say, this is mine. You know what I mean? And I did that, right? So you don't have to have a lot of money to get started. Just got to show up, start talking about what you do, but you do have to make investments. And if you can't afford a lot, invest in what you can. That could be time, that could be knowledge, that could be
Mhm.
whatever you're willing to give of yourself. So either, but you do have to give of your time, give of your pocket, or give of your knowledge. You can't just come out here and wing it. You do have to have a plan, both a short-term goal and a long-term goal, right? So I work both the short and the long term at the same time, so I know what I need to do today, like for classes and stuff like that that I teach and where I want to be, So I'm working on things in the back end that are going to help me pivot to the last place, right? Um, and some people do that in the beginning, but for me that wasn't possible. I couldn't afford that in the beginning, you know.
Yeah.
So you do what you have, right? What are your thoughts? You're very quiet.
No, I'm listening. Well, the truth of the matter is that, people have to kind of get clear on the immediacy of their need for a business, right? If it's something that you know for sure you want to build out long term and you have that time to take one step at a time and build it slowly because either A, you're not financially ready to invest 20, 30, 40, 50, $100,000 because people don't want to talk the real deal, but that's what it is. There are consistent costs. There are people you got to pay out. If you have a digital person, they need to be paid. It's not, people are not going to go ahead and be your marketer and be like, whatever. No, programs cost like five, six, seven, $8,000. People are not talking the real deal. And before you know it, you spend 20, 30, 40, $50,000 and it doesn't mean that you're making money yet. And I think it's really important for people to understand you don't have to rush if you have the time, if you have the luxury of having a job, and you can build it out now because you're thinking long term, you want passive income, or because you're thinking, you know what, I'm going to pivot once I'm done with whatever number of years I'm at my job, and this is what I'm going to pivot into. So it's a matter of having clarity on the plan. What is the purpose of whatever this is, whether you're selling services or you're selling actual goods and you're getting a cut of that, or defining your real operations and your long-term goal matters with those short-term actions, whether they be monthly or yearly or quarterly, but you will need the time to learn. There's no way, I don't care who you are, unless you're paying a lot of money out for everybody else to get it done for you, you're going to have to spend the time learning. Yeah. And nobody's going to pay you for that. You're going to invest in that. You're going to pay out to learn.
That's another thing too. A lot of people tell you to offload things that you're not good at to other people. That's coming from people who have been in business a long time that are past that point of paying those people, so they don't remember how costly that can be. So I have a lot of people reach out to me asking me who does my designs and stuff, and I'm still responsible for my own designs,
You're
right?
like,
So I do have several VAs working for me, but I do all the marketing plans and stuff, and they base things based on what I give them, right? So, but you have to be able, even if you have someone working for you, doing those designs and doing that marketing plan, you still have
okay.
to give them something to create, right? You can't just say, "Well, I'm in health and I need, I need this." Um, you have to give them a real plan, and not a weekly plan. You got to build that out. Like, have a calendar for like a year. Okay, we're going to talk about this month, this month, this month. So there's some kind of order so that you're not just throwing random content out there, that people know where you're going, they know what to expect, right? And
Mhm.
when they see your brand, they can say, okay, this girl is all health. So everything in here is going to be all health, emotional, wellness, physical, something health, right?
Mhm.
So they know who to turn to when they're looking for something in health, right? And what's in your wheel well. So that's what I mean by, in the beginning, you're always paying someone. And then
Mhm.
you have to realize too that there's those costs too, because if you don't know someone and you don't vet them really well, you may pay a lot of money to someone and then find out they're not legit and they're Gonski,
Yep.
right? And so is your money. So you really do have to get someone from someone you trust, vet them, find out, have them sign a contract. Um, some people that work in digital marketing use the same designs for several companies and just alter it by a little bit. And I personally want my brand to stand out. So my designs are not shared anywhere. My logo's on all of them. Um, it's very easy to download someone's picture from a site And a lot of people don't realize that. And then those people are just reusing all the content that you're putting out there and you're spending a lot of time and money creating. So you do have to have your brand embedded. I know my designs anywhere. So you do have to take that time to embed your name, embed your brand, something, right? So you have recourse when someone is taking literally your work and putting it back out there. So there's a lot of little things to consider
Hmm.
that you probably weren't even thinking about, right? Until we showed up. Till we weren't even showing up. But there's people that tell you need a website. You absolutely don't need a website in the beginning. There are apps that give you like individual website links for things that you're selling or promoting. Um, you can do a website links right in Canva, which is a great tool. Canva is
Hmm.
really great for developments and posts and stories and things like that,
It
reels.
is.
So you can learn. But the other thing too is when you are paying someone and you don't know how to create those yourself. For me, when I do design, it doesn't take me long at all because I've been doing it for 4 years. When I first started, oh my God, I was like I was all thumbs, right? So now I can do one pretty quickly in under 5 minutes, right? Certainly. So, but if you're giving money to someone else to do them, you don't know the time involved. So even when you
Hmm.
hire someone, you have to keep track of their time because someone can come back and tell you it took 10 hours to create two designs. Now, you knowing how to do that would be able to say, no,
No.
I can do one myself. I recently had someone that wanted to help with copywriting for me for emails, and took her 2 days to get back to me, and she gave me a horrible email. Horrible. I said,
Oh.
what is this about? I said, this is a book. I said, we're advertising a book, but who's going to read a book to find out about the book? I said,
Yeah.
I wouldn't read this story. I said,
Yeah.
It's great,
No.
but it's very lengthy. I could create a new book out of this." So I said, well, let me, let me, let me show you what I'm looking for. And I did it in like 5 minutes. And I think she was trying to build me for like 6 or 7 hours. I said, for what? So I did it like, I said, hang on a minute, typed it out and sent it to her. I said, this is what I'm looking for. This took me
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
I said, I don't know how many people you can serve if you're spending 6 hours on an email.
Yeah.
I said,
That's
but
just
I certainly wouldn't pay you.
typical.
So, and that was a dry run. I met with someone else who wanted to help me with funnels or something. She goes, I really like to work with you, blah, blah, blah. And I know her a while, and she's out there telling people she works with me, and she never did. Um,
Oh,
yeah, which I recently found
that's
out.
not
And
cool. That's those
no,
are
it's
all
not cool.
like
Oh,
not.
you like her
Yeah.
design? So yeah, I work with her on that. No, you don't. So so someone said something to that effect, and I was like, they mentioned her by name, and I said, who are you talking about?
That's scary,
And
actually.
they said, well, so and so, are you really good friends? I said, no, we're not. Who told you that? Well, she did. She said she works for you. I said, well, that's not true either.
Oof.
And then I told them why she doesn't work for me. She quoted me a price on something for like $13 a day because of where she is in the world, and then came back with a contract for $2,300 a month.
Oh, wow.
And I've never seen any of her work. So I said, I'm sorry, I wouldn't do that. Not for what I'm asking you to do, because again, I could do that in 2 hours and I wouldn't pay somebody $2,300 for 2 hours work in a month. I wouldn't do it. That would be a hardship for anybody's business. Um, so I said, thanks, but no thanks. Um, and I said to her, I said, you quoted this and you came back with this. I said, we're
Wow.
not even on the same page. We're not even in the same book.
Total bait.
So, and the person that had told us she worked with me, she had worked with. And the person told me, well, because she said she worked with you, she worked with me for like 3 months, and this is what she charged me a month. And I said, well, sorry, you got played.
Oh, wow. That's horrible.
You know, because in her country, she made her money for the next 3 years. She doesn't have to work. So,
Yeah, but that's being very
so
unscrupulous. People like
I
that.
asked her. I said, are you aware of where she lives, and do you know the dollar value there?" I said, "Do you know what you paid her per month is
Wow.
there?" I said, "Here, let me show you." And I got out my little trusty calculator, and I said, "That's what you paid her per month."
Wow. That's insane.
So there were the whole point of me sharing this is, not to further cause worry or all those things, but there's good people and there's bad people out there. That's going to be anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter if you're in business. It doesn't matter if you're at the playground with children, right? You could be riding on the train somewhere. There's going to be good people and there's going to be bad people. That's what the world is in this day and time. So you do have to be a little leery of things that sound too good, and you do have to do some investigation, right? So if someone's telling you, I'll do all your marketing across all your platforms, just give me your login information. Uh, that's never a good sign because
No.
now you've just given them your business because they can go
Mhm.
in there and change that. So it does have to be somebody you can trust. So a lot of people want to achieve things so bad that they step out of that, I don't know, knowledge for a brief minute, and then they get snagged, and it really, and then you kind of lose the desire to continue in business because you're going to meet a few people like that out there. So if you're going to do business, do it with people, friends of friends, people that have been with them a long time that you know. I would never give anybody access to any of your accounts because it is very simple once they have
Yep.
access to really change that where you're locked out of your own accounts.
Hmm.
So I would never always use a secondary app if you're going to let somebody log in. Like on Facebook, you used to be able to add people as as a worker. You can't do that anymore. So when you add them, you're actually adding them as a co-partner in your business. So
Scary.
no one will ever have access to my Facebook profile. You just won't. There's too many people out there trying to take down profiles all the time. So just do yourself a favor and really do your research. Um, Scope out people you're going to work with. Talk to other people in business. Maybe even take a business class online. Important things to
Yep.
know because if you're really serious about a business, taking a class while you're doing it about things you need to know because if you're selling products or services, you do have to have terms of use, right? A refund policy, contracts for people that you hire, and you can do all those yourself, but you do have to know the basics of what goes in it because if you sell a product and it's broken, you have to be able to return it. What's your return policy? Is there a restock fee? So all of these things you have to know. If it's a digital product, would you give a refund? Absolutely no, because now they have it.
They
They
have
saw
it.
it and said, "Well, now that I've looked over it and downloaded it, I don't want it anymore." So you really, certain
You
things
already
should,
have it.
yeah,
Yeah.
like a book. That's like giving a 30-day refund policy on a book. They read the book and then say, "Okay, I'm done. Let me give it back." You have to use common sense, and common sense in this day and age will get you a lot farther than knowledge sometimes. So just be leery of those little golden nuggets that are flashing around you, and just keep your eyes on your own stuff, and really, if it's important to you, you absolutely can do it. It's not as easy as people make it, but it's not as hard as a lot of people make it either. If you're a professional in anything, maybe you're really great at connecting people to other people, and maybe that's what you do. You set up social interactions where people can collaborate for business. Whatever it is you do, there's a market for it, certainly, but find out what's going on in that market. Is it a good market to get into? So they tell you um, the best markets to get into, or health, wealth, um, What's the other one? Health, wealth,
Relationships.
relationships. There's one more. There's one
Mm.
more. There's four markets that sell really well. I can't remember the other one. So hopefully it's not the one you want to go into. Um, but, but yeah, but really just spend some time, think about it. Think about how much you're willing to invest from the time you start. Maybe you want to do a little research first about what is I mean, there was someone who was training dogs. Someone else I knew that was um selling how to take a great picture from your smartphone. And when I
Mhm.
heard that, I thought, well, I can't see that selling well, right?
Well, they
But
sell.
guess what? It's a great business. And guess who really should have been in that class? Me, because I can't take a great picture from a smartphone. So, is there a need for it? Yes. So you just have
Mhm.
to really look into things. What do you have? What do you like to do? Because when you show up, I mean, wouldn't you agree, Laurelette, that it has to be something that you're passionate about?
Yeah, you definitely want to be passionate, but also I think working through the muck of whatever issues might be stopping you from doing different things, because it does take a lot to set aside time to do recordings, to be willing to show up consistently, and to reinvent that image for a public um, consumption, because it's a different type of engagement when you're doing in-person business versus online business. And sometimes that establishing that trust and building up that momentum takes time because, again, we have so many competing um, forces with the different types of marketing and the different ads and the different people saying that they know all kinds of things that they say they know and not knowing to verify. So it takes courage to be able to know that you're going to confront all of that along the way and be consistent. And so you kind of want to work through your mind. Are you ready to make that commitment? Can you make that commitment? Is your lifestyle conducive to that? Because it may not be. It may not be the time for it, and it may not be the right moment. But I think when we are really ready, it's like anything, things align to it. But I would say for sure, you want to take a step through it so that you can get to know what can you do. And some people have to start with podcasts. Some people have to start with written content. Some people don't necessarily right away go for video. Some people may have one-to-one engagements and interactions. Some people may go for workshops. Some people may want to do online, live, in-person, moment-to-moment engagements. So you kind of have to figure those things for yourself, what really feels right, and then build that up. I mean, that's what I would tell anybody, because that's what I say to myself. Like for me, it's probably easier to go ahead, put together a workshop, record that workshop, then have it edited, and then have it as an info product online if I wanted to do such a thing. Because I like in-person engagement. I like when people would ask me a question. I like when I can sense the energy in a room. I like to connect with people in that way. Sometimes a screen, because it doesn't always is, but it can be a barrier to processing that energy. Um, and that connection, it can be, which to me explains why it's not as easy
Yeah.
to to
And
connect.
some people aren't comfortable, when I find it easier to be in person also because all of the work I've done has always been at the bedside, in the ER, wherever I was at the time, but you're connecting with other people. So it
Mhm.
is very different, not to talk about or online what you do or anything like that, but to make that shift and all of a sudden be in everybody's living room talking about it, you know.
Right,
So you have to be comfortable on camera, and you really have to not compare yourself to other
right.
people. You have to not judge where you're at by where they're at. it's okay to aspire to be at that level in their business, but not to aspire to be them because you're not them. You'll never be them.
Yes,
And people are going to be attracted to your unique qualities, and you have to understand that, right? So
100%.
that's a part of it. So there is a lot of growth when you come online, because you do have to do that inner work, like why didn't I go live today, or why am I
Right,
procrastinating again, right? You
right,
do have to be honest with yourself to see where you're falling short in your business and stuff like that, right? And if you're not showing up, certainly nobody knows you're there. So
right. And you have to be willing to accept what comes with that, right? Because that's the issue. If you open up that door, are you ready and able to support those people? Because there's no sense in showing up and then people looking for you, and now you don't want to help them, So that's why it's like I would urge people to do that work first, and do what you really can do. If all you can do is written content, then do written content and build your name up until you feel ready for the next level of whatever that might be. And again, it depends on the immediacy of how you want to build this online presence. How immediate must this be for you? And what are you willing to do? To what degree are you going to take this? Because there's so many ways, so many pieces to it. You know, that you have to know. You really have to figure that out for yourself. There's nobody that can figure that out for you.
agreed. So we're going to leave it there for you today. I hope we gave you food for thought. And thank you for joining us today on Soul's Code. Again, I am Anjanette, and this is Lorilet
Bye.
Monegro. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a great night.
Yeah. Ciao.